right, everybody, welcome back to the Player B podcast. We are on episode number 4. Again, my name is Marcus Mercer, joined as always by Rob Levins. Rob, how we doing?
Doing well, better than I deserve. How are you?
Doing all right, man. I have to admit though, this winter weather is taking its toll on me here. Most of the country has been hit by this storm. I think we got a couple inches of ice last night and some snow. So there's no golf in the immediate forecast here in Ohio. That's for sure.
Not outside golf. No, so you can frequent your local indoor golf facility if you have one. But I think a lot of putts are being struck indoors and chips as well. So I'm not really sure when we're going to get to see some blades of grass and take a divot outside. I don't think that's coming anytime soon.
Well, that I didn't even think about this, but I tried to go up to the local range here in Columbus last week, and they can't even go pick balls, so they were closed.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. I guess
I actually saw.
You gotta go get them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, another range out near Denison, just east of Columbus, posted the same thing. They can't go pick the balls, so there's no balls to hit. So.
Imagine being the last guy. It's like, no, this is the last ball we have. Make it a good one. Like,
yeah, you better stripe this one.
Right. Yeah.
So we're getting through it here. We actually had a couple guests lined up for tonight. One of our buddies, Matt Carbajal, he is down in the Dallas area, and as many people probably know, they've been slammed pretty good with this storm. So he is dealing with power and internet issues and things like that. So we'll get him on here soon enough. But
rain check brought to you by Carbs. So we'll get him on here.
Yeah, hopefully he's staying safe down there. But we'll probably reference him throughout many episodes. The man known as Carbs here in Columbus. Yep. So,
absolutely.
But so I guess we can kind of kick it off as we always do. Another weekend of tour golf. The guys were out at Pebble Beach this week. Did you get a chance to watch any of that?
I did. I would say the Pro-Am minus the Ams. So
right.
And to focus on the pros and the golf course and things like that. But yeah, wife and I watched a little bit on Saturday, a little bit on Sunday. So yeah, it was good to kind of see. I mean, I just can't quite get into the whole. I mean, once we get, I'd say after the Masters is when I can start watching a tournament from Thursday to Sunday. Right now, it's like, oh, it's on. That's okay. This is when I watch. But yeah, so I watched enough to be dangerous with knowledge of what was going on. But then on Sunday, we got to watch some of the festivities of a professional golfer with his name on his bag, 4-putt from 13 feet. So that was entertaining to watch. So
well, there were two things that stuck out in my mind. Besides the really good golf tournament that was going on, obviously There was a lot of guys jammed up there at the top of the leaderboard, but a lot of people making a big deal out of it not being the best field and all kinds of stuff, but it was a really good golf tournament to watch. But you mentioned one of the things, seeing a pro on the 16th hole on Sunday with the lead 4-putt.
That was rough.
It was rough, but it was also a very relatable moment, I guess is the best way to say it. Because
100%, it was really.
I mean, anybody that's listening to this has probably 4-putted at one point in their life, just not with a PGA Tour tournament on the line. So
no, it was rough to watch. He missed the first, then missed the second, and I was watching it with my wife, and she goes, I wouldn't be that. I mean, that's no gimme. He might miss this one. And he didn't even hit the hole with his third. And then his 4th putt, they showed it on like ShotLink or Stat Tracker. It was a downhill 3-foot, 7-inch right putt. I'm like, that's not a tap in by any stretch of the imagination. So
right.
Not 5-putting.
Well, it's and his first putt was 13 feet. So he 4-putted from inside of 13 feet, which which is tough to do, but it is what it is. And it happens to everybody. It's just, that was really bad timing for him, cause he played really well all week. So
I was kind of surprised that putter stayed intact. I thought the way he was tossing that thing around and slammed it on the ground, I thought for sure that thing was going to get snapped in at least one piece or two pieces.
Well, I think you said it best in our text when we were obviously talking about this. You said I've snapped clubs for a lot less. So
oh my gosh, if we had a tally of clubs I've snapped over the years, what caused that, it would be much worse. I mean, he blew I think like 350K on 4 putts. I lost a hole in a high school golf match and snapped a wedge or something stupid. So yeah, I mean, the scale of which clubs have been broken are nowhere near where they are on tour. So I was kind of surprised he held it together and didn't snap anything.
Yeah, it was tough to see, but I think I heard I forget who it was, another podcast say that he donated 2 balls of the Pacific Ocean on 18. So on maybe Saturday and then again on Sunday. So
yeah, because he finished Saturday bogey. And then obviously Sunday, just how his day went, it was just see ya. Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks for coming.
That's tough, especially when you play that well for almost 4 complete days minus 1 hole. It's just
and he had it going too, because on the front he turned at like 32.
Yeah,
so he had the putter going. He made some decent putts, and then that's the fun part of competitive golf, where it's not all right. That's good. Pick it up. Like, okay, you missed that one. You lost the hole. Pick it up. It's nope. That ball has to find the bottom of the cup at some point, no matter how many.
Yeah. You can't just give putts. It's unfortunate. You gotta find it in the bottom of the cup. But he'll never forget that one. That's for sure.
No.
So
No.
But among that was one point that stuck out in my brain. And
yes.
The second one made a lot of went viral, I guess, on social media, was Molinari's tee shot that he just cold topped and just rolled it.
Yeah.
Anytime you see a tour pro do that, it gets people's attention because it doesn't happen much. But again,
you smile a little. Your smile grows a little bit when you see a pro do that.
Well, again, it's one of the most relatable things to us amateur golfers, because it happens all the time to us and it never happens to them. So.
Yeah, and it's great that it happened. Not great that it happened, but the fact that it was captured on television is even better, because it could maybe happen more often than you think. But I mean, it more than likely doesn't, because they're pros. But for it to be on TV is fantastic. So that way you're able to see, okay, this really does happen. This game is hard. Even these guys screw up and execute that type of golf shot, because that was one that it wasn't like, he kind of healed it or he kind of hit it off the toe. It was like, no, that rolled. Like, that just got barely like a foot off the ground and just took a nosedive.
There's one other thing I kind of relate to when I saw that. Mm-hmm. I watched it happen, then I saw the clips and I was like, holy shit, did that really happen?
Right.
The only other thing that I can think of remembering watching live on TV was, and I can't remember the year, a couple years ago at the Masters, when Zach Johnson was taking a practice swing and it hit the ball off the the tee marker or whatever.
Yeah, just stopped the club off the marker. Yeah.
And I'll never forget that, because I was watching it. I had it up on my computer. I was doing work or whatever, because I think it was on a Thursday, maybe it was Friday, but it was a work day. Yeah,
it wasn't the weekend, right?
And I was watching it, and I did a double take. I was like, holy shit, did that really just happen? It's kind of what I did with Molinari. I was like, what is going on here? You don't see things like that all the time. So.
I love they had the shot tracer on Molinari too. Just
fantastic.
A straight nose dive down.
Fantastic. I think they had like the shot tracer with the ball speed up and all that kind
of
stuff.
It's like, ooh. Because they're not expecting anything like that.
No.
So, this one's going to be 3-wood right down the middle, 260, 270. But nope.
I always wonder when something like that happens to a guy and he's playing on, on tour, on national TV, playing at Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
Like, what goes through their brain after that? Because I know how I feel after I do that in front of you and 2 of our other buddies playing in a foursome. I'm embarrassed. It's like, I didn't do it in front of other tour pros on national TV.
Yeah, and usually we fire a line like, at least that one went straight or something like that. I mean, those guys aren't breaking the ice with any joke like that. So, I don't know. I don't know what his thought, and he's such a robot anyway. So he probably just handed a 3-wood back, grabbed a hybrid, and laced it down the middle further than I'd hit a driver and regrouped. So
yeah, well, and that's the thing is usually those guys find a way to recover, where I usually just complicate things more and make it worse for myself. So
yeah. Now I have a downhill lie in the tee box, but I better hit 3-wood so I can advance it up there. And then it's like, that's not what I should play.
Right. Exactly. But that shot sparked a whole bunch of conversation in some of the group texts I was in.
Yeah.
You know, we just mentioned our buddy Carbs. I'm in a group text with him and a couple of my other buddies from high school. And I sent that video, and Carbs immediately responded with, that's the most relatable shot I've witnessed. Mercer's worst tee shot ever. And I was like, I know exactly the shot he's talking about.
Yeah.
So it made me start thinking. I'll tell my story here in a second, but
yeah,
I think it's a kind of a fun exercise to have everybody remember their worst tee shots and tell the story. So I don't know if you have one, but I'll let you lead off, and then I'll share mine.
Yeah, I got more than one. I'd have 2 examples. One is an opening tee shot, and then one is just like one that is just forever cemented in my brain. The one that was not a first tee shot, it was in a high school match, and I was not very good in high school. I mean, relative, but I was like 40, like low 40s. If I broke 40, I was on cloud 9. 9-hole match. And there was a course we played in, I think it's like Trenton, Ohio, Weatherwax. It's no longer a course. It's a housing development now. Had 36 holes. So we played a team there, and our coach, we played a long par 5, OB right. He was like, just don't go right. Do not hit the ball right. So I step up on the tee, proceed to rip a tee shot down the left-hand side into chest-high fescue.
Okay.
And he goes, that's fescue, might have to hit a provisional. Okay. Hey, I'm playing a Titleist 3 now. Bam. Probably right on top of the other one. I proceed to pump 3 balls into said chest-high fescue. Didn't find a single one of them. So I went 3. So 1 hitting 3, 3 out, hitting 5. 5 in, hitting 7. So I made an 11 on a par 5. But
oh no,
none of the coach was up by the green, and I walked off the green. It was like the 6th hole, and he's like, "What'd you just make there?" I was like, 11. He goes, "How did you make an 11?" Well, it didn't go right on the tee. I was like, I made sure I didn't go right. There's OB right, and he's like, well, there's fescue left. So that was one that's just like forever cemented. It was one of my earlier high school golf matches, so that was just comical. Opening tee shot, that's just one of the worst ones I've ever, was actually pretty recent, was last year. Played a course called Windy Knoll in Springfield, and it's a really nice course, kind of a hidden gem. First hole is probably 360 yards, tree lined, nothing to it. Little pond that is, I don't think the course architect ever thought it was in play. It's just in front of the tee box that we were playing. And we're talking what match, who's getting strokes. I'm going, I'll give you this many aside, this many aside. I proceed to stone cold top Molinari style into the water that I didn't even know was in play.
Oh, no.
I mean, it was like drove the ball into the ground, kind of popped up and just like squirted off the tee box into the pond. So I just reloaded, made bogey on the hole, which was good, and ended up shooting 69 that day, which I was happy with. But that opening tee shot it's a funny story. It's like, oh, I shot 69. That's a good score. I'm like, yeah, I topped my tee shot into the water that was about 3 feet off the first tee too. So that was an even better 69. So
that's impressive that you shot 69 and cold top the drive into the water.
Next one was just a high draw too. So it was like, oh man, I got to like that. All of a sudden that water, I was like, I'll just reload from the tee, and like, all right, that sounds good. And I was like, that water now seems like it's in play when it shouldn't have been in play.
That is definitely in play.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Those are 2 good stories, because that is, everybody hits a terrible shot or something along those lines, but there's always one or two that stick out in your mind. So
Yeah.
that's hilarious. But the story that kind of sparked this whole conversation, our buddy Carbs was explaining in our group chat. We're playing a league round. We're playing in our men's league at Westchester here in Columbus. So for those that are here in Columbus familiar with that course, pretty solid public course in the area. But we were playing a league round, and I started off the first 5 holes the best start I've ever had. With 9 holes, 18s, whatever it was. If you're familiar with Westchester, number 1's par 5, pretty. I don't want to say easy par 5, but it's a birdie par hole. Mm-hmm. So made a putt, made birdie on 1, par 2, par 3, par 4, and par number 5 is another par 5 that I chipped in for eagle. So I start 3 under through 5, and I've never.
So you're starting the 59 watch at that point. The hashtag 59 watch is going all over Twitter for you.
Yeah, right. So I'm playing lights out, and I know it. Like, I know that I have never started this good in my life. So
yeah,
it's I don't know what happened, but I step up to the 6th tee, and if you're familiar with the course, it's a par 4, a little bit of a dogleg right, houses all down the right hand side, and as a reminder, I'm a left-handed golfer, so I just completely duck hook the drive. I mean, a pull hook that never had a chance to stay on the planet, and I slam it off this guy's back porch, off his door of his back porch, and he's sitting on the porch petting his cat. So everybody just starts dying laughing. So obviously I'm OB, so I reload on the tee, and I hit it in the fairway. So at this point, I'm lane 3, hit it in the fairway, and I completely hit, like, I can't remember if it's a 7 or an 8 iron, just a wiped 7 iron into the fescue on the left, into the shit. So now I can't find that ball. So I take another drop up there, chip up, put in. I make an 8. I go from 3 under to 1 over in the span of 1 hole.
Yikes!
All because of my infamous drive that I never pull hook the ball. So for me to do that, I must have, had something going on upstairs that I was not thinking clearly or what it was, but everybody got a good laugh out of that one, and I'll never forget that shot. And to make matters worse, like I said, the guy was sitting on his back deck or his back patio or whatever, petting his cat. And didn't say a word to me when I got up there. He just
he didn't?
No, didn't say a word. So
wow. Yeah, you kind of hope that they're either not at home, so you can just play it off like you didn't hit that house, but he's out there petting his cat. He knows it's you. I mean, that house development over there's not a ton of traffic that comes over there. So it's like, that's the only hole around that area. So it's going to be narrowed down between you and, the group that you're playing with. So it's going to be pretty easy to tell who did it.
Yeah. So I started off feeling really good, playing really well. And then my, as one of my buddies says, my chili was running hot after that one.
Yeah.
It was a tough scene the rest of the way in. So
yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's always a fun story. I think we may, as we get some guests on and things like that, we may, ask that question, and maybe a reoccurring question. It's always a good conversation to have. It's always fun to relive those stories. So,
well, like we just showed, it doesn't end at just the tee shot. He was like, well, then, because after that, I also, so it's like
hit a wipey 7 iron into the shit, and I had to take another drop.
Tell the remaining story of the hole or the round or so. Yeah, it's never just what's your worst tee shot. No one, I bet, if we ask all the guests that we have on there, they're never going to just to stop at the tee shot. They're like,
what's your worst tee shot, and then what happened after that?
Right. Yeah. That's going to happen even if we don't ask that part of the question, because that's just how golfers operate. They're going to give you more information than what you asked for. So
right. We'll have to get my buddy Budasek on here one time. He he made a 13 on a par 4. I think he hit like 3 drives OB. So maybe we'll have to have him tell that story.
Wow.
But, yeah, tough scene. But
Yeah.
anyway, I figured tonight we could, we're here in Columbus, Ohio, Central Ohio, but thought it would be fun to recap our top 5 favorite Ohio public courses that we've played. And I'm interested to hear your list because we haven't talked about this. So we have no idea what's on each other's list. So,
yeah, correct. Yeah, I kind of made a hodgepodge of public golf courses. And then obviously my time in the business, I was lucky enough to play some private clubs.
Yep.
And obviously didn't have to join and be members at. So I got to play some pretty nice private clubs. But yeah, also without
as a reminder, you grew up in Southwest Ohio. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, and we've both lived in Columbus for a while. So there may be, some courses on there that neither of us have played. Well, you've played some, in Southwest Ohio that I haven't heard of and haven't been to, and
exactly, yeah.
So it'll be interesting. But
yeah,
I think the best way to do this maybe is we can start with our number 5 course and work our way through it. Maybe if you want to get started, you can do your 5th course, and I'll give you mine, and we can chat about it and go from there.
Yeah. Coming in at number 5 was actually a golf course you just referenced in your worst tee shot story. It was Westchester down in Canal Winchester.
There you go.
I played that for the first time a few years ago. They always had just like 4-man scrambles randomly out there. We would play in them occasionally. My wife and I had like a little 4th of July tradition where we would get on Golf Now, play 9 holes in the morning, and then go do something. So it's just a fun course, kind of like what you said. You kind of gave it the rundown of the first few holes where it's not tricky in a sense of like it's gimmicky or anything like that. It's like what you see is what you get. Everything's out in front of you. The course is all, large greens, run-ups. So, for those guys that are maybe high handicappers, it's not a lot of forced carries. You can run shots up on the green if you need to. One thing my wife and I liked about it, Brewdog is right down the street. So we use the Brewdog prior or after or both, depending on the time of our tee time. But yeah, we've always just liked that course. It's a little bit of a drive, from where we've been at living wise, down to Canal Winchester, but it's, 20, 25 minutes, from like downtown Columbus, and it's well worth the drive. It's always in good shape. And they always, usually they're pretty busy on the tee sheet. So my wife and I have been lucky enough when we signed up for twosomes, get paired with a couple nice people. Always had a good experience out there. So what about you? What's your number 5?
Well, I was going to say that's funny because I didn't have Westchester in my top 5, but it was probably one of my honorable mentions. I thought about putting it in there. It's a course I've played a million times. We used to play it all the time back in, right out of college and things like that. We used to find tee times late on Sunday afternoons on like Golf Now for like $19-20 for 18 in a cart. And like you said, it's a good public course. It's for as much play as it gets. It's usually in really good condition. It is a little bit of a drive, but we used to go down there and play all the time. Now they have a nice clubhouse now, but back then, at one point they had a trailer as a clubhouse. So
really, I did not know that. I've always known it like a nice venue. It's always really nice.
Used to, I think when there's housing developments and things around there now, and right when they first started building that up, they had the golf course, which was still in the same condition it is now, but they had a trailer and they were building the clubhouse. So it's a nice addition, and they're undergoing some changes now. I'm actually glad they didn't close the course because there was some talk about it being sold and turned into a park and all kinds of stuff. So
some local businesses or a local business owner, scrounge up the money and bought it. I'm glad that it stayed a golf course for us.
If I remember right, I think I heard that there's going to be a pizza place either in the clubhouse or the owner that the folks that bought the golf course also own a pizza place. And
they had a pizza shop like down the street. And so they're going to close that location and basically just have their pizza shop in the clubhouse. So that'll be
what do you $25 for 18 in a cart and a slice of pizza or what?
right. Yeah, it's like I'm used to the roll of dogs. Like, hey, give me one of those things at the turn and a couple of beers, but I could get down on some pizza instead. I'll take that.
Exactly. So good choice. I like that. Number 5. Well, I'm struggling here because I put a few courses on here. I have 6 listed. One is a semi-private course, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah.
I would say my number 1, or I'm sorry, number 5, I'm going to go with Denison. It's a course I just played for the first time this year. Live over on the east side of Columbus now, so it's a bit easier to get there, but it's a course I played twice this year, and honestly wish I would have played it before because it's a really, really good public course. It's an old Donald Ross course that was built years ago. So you play the front 9, and it definitely has an old school, old golf club feel to the front 9. In the back 9, you can kind of tell they rerouted it a little bit through a housing development, things like that. But there are 2 holes, 15th tee box and the 18th tee box have pretty awesome views, especially in the fall when the leaves are turning and things like that. But it's just a great golf course. It's, about a half an hour, like you said, east of Columbus. So it's a little bit of a drive, but it's definitely worth it. And I know we've had some talks about we got to get you out there. So
that's one I've never played. I'd be pretty excited. I always like the Donald Ross type of courses. So yeah, that'd be fun to get out there. And anytime you're playing a golf course you've never played before, it's always kind of like you're like a kid on Christmas morning. Like I never, where does this hole go? Where do I need to hit it? That kind of thing. It's always exciting to play. Yeah.
It's a course that I love now, but I've still only played it twice. So I'm like itching to get back out there, and it's a lot of fun to play. So that's my number 5.
Number 5. Good selection there on number 5.
How about number 4?
Yeah, I'm kind of moving around here, shuffling.
Yep. It's tough. This is not easy.
And again, I'm gonna stick to the public courses. So I am going to go number 4, and this is going to sound like a broken record based on some of our previous podcasts in our golf league. I really like Darby. I had never played it before last year in our league. Or I think you and I went out there before our league started one time, and we walked 18.
Yep.
And I'd never played it before, never even heard of it really. And then just the fact that you get basically 2 separate golf courses and 9 holes. The front 9 is very link style, very much run up type courses, holes rather, where you're not carrying it over anything. It's not really tree lined. You can kind of spray it, more of a link style. And then you get to the back and it's, I'd say 2-3 shots harder, just based on tree lines, sight lines, that type of thing. Greens are always good out there. All last year when we played there, I was always happy with the course conditions, and just a fun layout. Like nothing that you have to have your A game on and be super dialed in with anything to score well, but it's also not going to just be an absolute bear where you're just defeated after 18 holes. Yep. But yeah, it's a course you could play quite a bit. We obviously play it once a week, every single time in men's league. But yeah, I enjoy that course quite a bit. Surprisingly, I was happy with that. That was our league that we got to play in, and fun course to play.
Yeah, I actually had Darby on my list as well. So Darby Creek. Yeah. For those that aren't familiar with it, it's a course in Marysville, outside of Columbus. I feel like I was going to say about 30 minutes away, but I feel like that it's pretty much every golf course we're talking about. So it's a fun one, but I had Darby Creek on my list at number 3. Okay. To your point, it's a course I hadn't played until last year either, but.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought you played it. Okay.
No, you would think as much as we played it last year in league and even getting plenty of rounds outside of league and at Darby as well.
Yeah.
It's just like you said, it's a fun course. It's a public course. Again, that's always in great condition. Mm-hmm. You can get a tee time and again, if you're willing to drive to Marysville, it's not too bad if you're in Columbus. Yeah. So it's it's fun. But to your point, the front nine and the back nine, the front nine's a little bit easier. The back nine can get pretty challenging. It's a little bit more hilly, and you got to be careful with some of your shot placement with the trees and all that kind of stuff there. I've made some big numbers on a few of the holes in the back nine. So it's but it is a fun course to play. I'm glad you had that on there, because I had it on my list as well. It's moving over here to the east side. It's going to be a little bit more of a drive to get over there, but it's definitely worth it. So
yes, it is a little bit more of a hike for you on those Thursday nights. So
yeah, but it's a fun course to play, because it's one of those courses where the tees you play make a big difference. I actually, we play the men's tees or whatever in league, the blue tees, but I played, actually snuck around it in December over there and played from the white tees, and it makes quite a big difference with what clubs you're hitting in the greens and things like that. So it was interesting to experience that from a different set of tees. So good stuff. Good stuff.
What you got coming in at 4?
Number 4 is a course that a couple of my buddies are probably going to be surprised to hear me put on this list, but I'm going with Eagle Sticks, which is over in Zanesville, about an hour east of Columbus. So Eagle Sticks is a course that my dad played a lot growing up. He's actually from Zanesville, so he used to love playing Eagle Sticks, and for a while there, back in the 80s and 90s, I think it was one of the top 100 public courses every year. It was up there with Longaberger, which is now Virtues and things like that. But it's a great layout. It's super hilly. There's a lot of undulation and elevation changes and things like that. But the reason I struggled with putting it on the list is I've had a love-hate relationship with that course, because I have played some of the worst golf imaginable on that golf course. And there have been many times where me and a couple buddies will drive over there, and I literally feel like I got my ass kicked. I feel like I left there demoralized. And
like, why do I play this game?
Just a defeated man. And so for a while there, I vowed, I was like, I can't go back there. I can't go back there. And I finally made a pact with myself last summer that I'd break 80 on that course. And I did. I shot 79, and I was couldn't have been more happy with myself, more proud of myself that I
people saw you on 18 and you're like, yes, this fist pump, like you had to
he made bogey. What's he so happy about?
Nuts.
Yeah. Well, there's a story, and again, we'll get my buddy Josh on here at some point, but we went over to Eagle Sticks, the two of us, and I played so bad on the front nine. We made the turn, and you haven't played Eagle Sticks, have you, Rob?
That is another one I have not.
One we got to get you on.
So far, I'm 0 for 2 on your list, so I'm excited.
So the 10th hole is this beautiful par 3 over water. It's I don't have the yardage in front of me, but it's a decent. It's probably 175, 180 yards, depending on what tees you're playing. Again, that I got to look at the scorecard, but it's a fairly long shot for a par 3. And I just I hit ball so fat, and I hit it, I mean, in the middle of the pond. It wasn't even close to getting to the green.
Yeah.
And that was the closest I've ever come to just walking off the golf course. I was so mad at my buddy Josh. He usually gives me a hard time and, ribs me a little bit, gives me some shit after a bad shot. He just didn't say anything.
Silence.
He knew it was for the better that he didn't.
Yeah, that's when know. It's like, if it's a semi bad shot, you can kind of bust your chops about it.
Yeah,
bad shot. It's like, I should probably just be quiet on this one and let him figure it out on his. Figure it out on his own.
But it's another one of those courses where going out there in the fall is awesome with the leaves changing and the colors and things like that. It's not a long course, so it's definitely gettable, but it's a fun course to play. There's a lot of challenging shots. If you're not in the fairways, you're going to have a lot of uneven lies, a lot of balls below and above your feet and things like that. So it's not long, but it definitely requires some shot making abilities. How about that?
Yeah, those are always fun courses to play, though. It's fun to get away from the courses that are like, all right, 7,400 yards, 7,300 yards.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fun hitting driver, 4-iron in or hybrids in. It's part of golf. I feel like is being able to kind of, like you said, hit some shots to specific spots, kind of, manipulate trajectories and shot shapes instead of just hitting it as far as you can and then hitting, something else as far as you can. So I agree. Those are fun.
Perfect. What do you got for number 3?
Number 3, I tell you, I'm looking at my list and it is just like random all over the place. Number 3 is Champions Golf Course. Have you ever played that downtown?
So, believe it or not, that is a course here in Columbus that I have never played, and I've lived here for a long time, and I've never played Champions.
Okay, it's right off Cleveland Avenue. Not in the best area for those of you that are not frequent in Central Ohio. In fact, they tell you not to leave any belongings in your car, but that's neither here nor there. But they just did a huge clubhouse renovation. They used to have this like tiny caddy shack as a pro shop. And I guess they closed it like mid-year last year and just renovated it. And it's like a multi-million-dollar clubhouse now. So I haven't been over since they've done that. But the course itself, it's always in good shape for a public golf course, like a city course. I mean, you're gonna have, the ball marks and, you might have a group cut off, cut in front of you or that, whatever. But I mean, for the
Muni
actual,
golf.
yeah, exactly. Like when you sign up to play out there, like, that's what you're going to get. Yeah. I remember there was one time a buddy and I went out to go play and there's no advertisement of any tournament or anything out there. And they had 11 groups, 4-man scramble. And they go, oh, we didn't tell you there's an outing that's going out. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, by the way, shout out to my wife who just brought me another beer.
A Pack IPA.
Wolf's Ridge Pack IPA. So
I'm going with the standard greenskeeper from Langer.
Yeah, we're mixing it up over here. So yeah, we have like a hodgepodge. So I go in and we're like, hey, we're here for our whatever tea time. And they go, oh, we have a little outing. We go, okay. I go, where are they going off of? They go, 11, 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I go, is there any way we can go off the back, play as many holes as we can, as quick as we can, and then we know ultimately as a twosome, we're just going to catch these guys.
Yep.
And they're like, no, you can't do that. Right. So we stayed behind an 11 group 4-man scramble as a twosome. And the group that we catch immediately was like, we're really sorry. There's nowhere for you. Like, you'd have to play through 11 groups. So yeah, that's kind of frustrating, but that's the kind of stuff that's just like, hey, you're playing them and you might run into that type of thing. But the architecture of it, the layout, the tee shots, like if you really step back and look at it as a golf course and not focus on like the public golf course side of it, it's got some demanding holes. It's got a lot of elevation changes from high tee boxes to low greens, from low fairways to high greens. So I don't know the structure of like city tournaments and if they ever play anything out there, but I feel like if that course had, a city tournament or a pretty significant, greenskeeper that are keeping the course in good shape, that course could probably be like one of the top 5 public courses in Central Ohio. I mean, it's that, challenging off the tee. The greens are kind of intricate with their undulations and, shapes and everything. It's a fun course that we would always play. Normally we'd play them on Mondays because the private clubs would be closed on Mondays. So we'd try to get out and see where we could score some free golf. So it'd usually be Champions or like Safari. But yeah, anytime we got out to go to Champions on a Monday for free, that was always nice. So that's kind of my sleeper number 3. But I was kind of surprised you said you had played there.
I don't know how I haven't played there, but it just never happened. So maybe we need to make that happen this summer. And
that's I guess I wouldn't say that's a bucket list course by any stretch of the imagination.
But it's got the bones to be a good course. I've heard that from a few people that it has the potential, and it, obviously it's a muni course, so it, gets a ton of play, and it's hard to keep those up.
Well.
So
it means well.
Exactly. So good
Yep.
stuff. Good stuff. Well, I had
Yep.
that was number 3 for you, right?
Correct.
So
Yes. We have.
I had Darby as my number 3. So
Okay.
we've chatted through that one here. But number 2 is a course on my list that is in my hometown, the Quarry. Not sure
Okay.
if you're familiar with it, but
Not in the slightest.
it is a course that, well, for one, I'm excited because it's part of the Penn Ohio Golf Trail, so hopefully I'll
Yeah.
have a little opportunity to get back out there this summer. But it's a course I haven't played in a few years, but it's a great public course in Canton. Um, and some folks, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, may have actually seen it and not even realized it. But Ohio Johnny on Instagram has posted some pretty awesome photos in the fall of the quarry and the colors and the leaf changing and things like that that got picked up by some national publications on their Instagram channels and things like that. So it's again, I haven't played it in probably 7 or 8 years, but it's
Yeah.
a great course. It has a really cool finishing hole. You finish right in front of the clubhouse where, it's got the patio and everybody's out there having drinks and beers, watching people come in, and the pressure's on a little bit, but it's
critiquing everybody's approach shots and putts and
exactly. But I feel like all the courses I've picked here, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing that a lot of these courses have elevation changes, and obviously in an old quarry, it's going to be up and down a little bit and things like that. So it was just nice to see a course in my hometown get some national love. And again, it's a really, really good public course that is always ranked towards the top of Ohio's public golf and things like that. So hoping to get back out there again this summer, as it's been quite a while, but it's a course that my dad and I have played several times. So yeah.
Wow, we're really knocking out courses that neither one of us played to the other. So
I know, right?
That's impressive. We'll have to change a few of these. So
What do you got for number 2?
Number 2, another little hidden gem. I don't know if you've played it. It's in Lockbourne, Ohio. The Players Club. Used to be 36 holes until this year. Foxfire just sold MI Homes. Are now building a bunch of homes on it out in Lockbourne. But the other 18 is their Players Club.
Yep.
Have you played it out there?
I have played a few times. Yeah, actually played there this past summer with Zach and Carbs, both our guests who are supposed to be on tonight. But
that's right.
We'll have to ask them about it when they get on here. Yeah,
that course. Yeah, so my wife and I had played Foxfire. One day same thing. Golf Now, got a tee time down there. Went down there. So I had played Foxfire a couple times, and that's kind of just straightforward. 1 goes this way, 2 goes the other way, 3 goes this way, 4 goes the other way. The Players Club is obviously one where they're gonna put more time and effort into, and that's why a lot of people were happy that they sold off the Foxfire land and can focus back on the Players Club for a while. That was another course actually on Mondays. In the golf business, we would sneak down and play. We knew the pro out there, and he'd always just come, hey, come on down, play. So it'd just be tough because the bunkers were kind of hard pan and stuff like that. That was a few years ago, but again, layout is there. It's a tough golf course. There's a stretch on the back 9. I want to say it's like 14, 15, and 16, where it's some of the tightest driving holes I've ever seen, where it's like I'm terrified to actually swing the golf club because I don't think I can hit it straight. I don't think I'm going to find the fairway.
Yeah.
It's pretty challenging. It's a pretty challenging golf course. You can, plenty of tee boxes to fit your skill level. So you can play it as far back as, I think it stretches back to like 7,200 yards if you're dumb enough to want to play out there.
Right.
But it's a fun course. It's challenging. The last couple of years, I don't know how it was condition wise when you were out there, but it's definitely gotten better over the years. So I'm kind of hoping with the development going up there, they're going to have some extra money to toss at that side, and it just continues to grow. Because for a while, it was one of the best public courses in Ohio, and then it just kind of took a nosedive for a while. But it's definitely trending upwards, I think.
Yeah, no, I would agree with what you said. It was a lot of fun to play. I think we played it. It might have been July or early August, so it was pretty burnt out. It was pretty hard out there. So which it's kind of out in the country a little bit, so that can happen. But yeah, I mean it's again, it's always whenever I'm on Golf Now or Supreme Golf or whatever, and I'm just looking for a random last minute tee time. That's always one of the places I search, just because it's a fun course to play, just like you said, and it's 25, 30 minutes away. You can get there fairly quickly and get a round of golf in, and it gets a lot of play. It's I guess we should have prefaced that, but all these public courses are getting a ton of play, especially here in the Columbus area. So it's going to be a 5-hour round of golf, if not a little bit longer. So
and with COVID and everything last year, golf courses just saw like a huge influx of play. I got a couple buddies that are still in the golf business, and they're saying rounds were up 40%, 50%, 60%.
There were plenty of times early in COVID, last April, May, when the weather really started to get nice, where you couldn't find a tee time on some of those websites and things like that. So it's good for the courses. Obviously, it's a little bit frustrating if you can't find a tee time and you want to get out, but it is what it is. So good stuff. That was number 2. I'm as I'm looking at my list here, I feel like we might have the same number 1 golf course. So.
I think I know what number 1 is for you, but we'll let you go ahead and lead us off and see.
I guess I should say I had to rearrange my list, and I'm gonna say it anyway. I didn't my number 2 course. I had listed originally as the Scarlet course at Ohio State. Kind of semi-private. I don't know where it falls, but it's a great golf course. I guess you have to be a member to get on, but if you're in school at Ohio State, people in the athletic department, things like that.
There's ways around it.
It's accessible, but it's I guess semi-private is the best way to say it. So I didn't include it, but that was the course I originally had on my list. And funny story about that golf course, I've only seen my dad ever pick up on the golf course one time and not finish a hole, and it was on Scarlet. It's a Nicklaus course. For those that aren't familiar, it's the Ohio State University's golf course. They play I guess it's a Corn Ferry Tour event out there now. It used to be Web.com Tour, but they play a Corn Ferry Tour event out there every year. It's a Nicklaus course, and my dad is a pretty good player. He's a single-digit handicap, and he couldn't get out of a bunker. And he just picked after about 3rd try, he just picked his ball up and he said, "That's enough." And walked back to the golf cart and moved on to the next one.
Know your limits. There's no sense of getting mad about it.
He's a guy that he holds his ball out and he plays by the rules. He's not a a stickler or anything like that, but he likes to see what he shoots every round, and that's I think the only time I can remember him picking up on the golf course. So anyway, but on to number 1, I have a feeling we have the same number 1 here. Mine is Virtues, Old Longaberger Golf Club.
That's correct. Yep.
I think we've mentioned it a few times on this podcast so far, but it's a course. Like I said, I think on last episode we talked about it. I played 5 times within like a 2-week span or so. So it's a ton of fun to play. It doesn't get as much play as some of these other public courses that we mentioned, but it still gets its fair share of play, and it's always in great shape. The greens are always rolling. It has a lot of holes that you need to make some shots on. It has some great views from tee boxes and things like that. So as far as public golf is concerned, it's up there with it's as good as you're going to get in Ohio, I think. So
I would agree with that. A little bit more of a hike. I think it's like probably 45 minutes, 50 minutes from downtown or so. But I mean, it's well worth the drive. And now that they got the cabins, I mean, there's a no-brainer to go out there. And if you're tired after a round of golf and a couple cold ones, just see if they got any rooms in the cabin and then crash there. But like you said, it's not just the course itself. It's just times where you're standing on a tee box waiting for your turn. And you just kind of turn around and look, and it's just like it's a golf course in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
But everything's in such good shape. It's just, it's a nice course.
You're out in the country. You're, I don't know, you're getting some fresh air. You're not in the city, you're not dealing with traffic and whatever else is going on around there. You can kind of just relax and enjoy a round of golf on a beautiful golf course and, just take it all in. And hopefully you don't shoot 95 or whatever, because it is definitely doable out there.
That's in the cards out there. That course is set up for a 95 or so if you're not careful. So
I gotta pull out the yardage book, but I have a video on my phone when we were out there last year. I talked about the greens rolling. What hole is that par 5 that Tommy boy hit that putt and it rolled all the way back down to his feet?
15 or 16. I forget. I'm trying to think. 17.
16 is a par 5. It's 16.
Yeah.
So
it's 16. Yeah.
For those who haven't played Virtues, and I'm working on getting a lot of guys down here to play Virtues. Some of the guys that are doing this Penn Ohio golf trail haven't played Virtues yet. So I'm working on setting that up because they have to experience. But 16 is a par 5. Depending on the tees you play, it's about 490 or so. But there's water all down the right. And and there's fescue and all that stuff up to the left. I bailed out to the left. I'm up on the side of this hill. Our buddy that we're playing with in our match, Tommy Boy, who we've mentioned several times already. We're messing around, and it's a 2-tiered green, and the pin was right in the middle of the green, and he's on the front fringe. And I think I put this on my stories on Instagram, but he hit a putt probably 20, 25 feet past the pin.
Yeah.
Up to the hill, and the greens were rolling so quick. I don't know what they were. 13, 4. I don't know what they were.
Yeah, they were around at least a 13 that day. They were quick.
The ball came all the way back to us standing in front of the water, and it probably would have rolled in the water had we not stopped it. So it's and
the best part was that was not a tournament. We just did our stay and play out there that weekend. So that's just the greens on a weekend. It's not
how it is. Yeah.
It wasn't like we signed up for some 2-man event or 4-man event out there and they just had it tricked out. That's just the condition. Like that's just how they have the greens. They're just running very, very quick that weekend. So that was fun. Yeah. There were some tricky pins that weekend and if you're in the wrong section of the green, you have no chance of stopping it. And that was very evident by Tom.
Yeah. It's, I also love Virtues because I actually almost had my first ace as well out there. I took home one of the closest to the pins, but looking back on it now, 14 is 162-yard par 3, and I hit it to about 6 inches. So,
is that the one with the drop off to the right?
Yep. Yeah. It drops off to the right. It's a little bit of an elevated tee box, I guess, because there's drop off in front and to the right. And I stuffed probably a 3/4, 80% 7-iron in there to about 6 inches for a kick in birdie. And then I really pissed off my playing partners when I did the same thing on the par 4 15th. I had about 120-yard approach shot and hit it to about 6 inches again and made back-to-back birdies. And they were not pleased with that because I pretty much sealed up the match at that point. So
our wallets got a little fatter that week. Nice.
But no, it's a fun course to play. They have a great clubhouse too. They have, I think we get emails every day at this point, but they're different food deals. And, they have a great outdoor patio and restaurant bar and things like that. So it's about as complete as public golf course as you'll find here in Ohio. So
I would agree with that.
That's perfect. We both had the same one.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what are there any courses you left off your list that
public courses wise, I didn't really. There's some down in where my neck of the woods that I could have referenced. Just some of the courses more so for sentimental value, just like, oh, I grew up on this course.
Yep.
Indian Ridge is one in Oxford that was our high school golf course. I grew up playing Liberty Country Club, which it's a great track, but it's not like, don't be fooled by the name Liberty Country Club. There's plenty of club championships that were played with guys in cutoff t-shirts and jean shorts. So it's not a country club by any stretch of the imagination, but
yep.
Those type of courses I left off just because, wanted to kind of focus on a little more attainable Central Ohio type courses. But yeah, I had some private courses on here that I got a chance. I was lucky enough to play. Obviously being a pro out at Worthington Hills, if you ever get a chance to go out there and play, that's a nice track.
Yep.
They had a big bunker renovation a few years back. The Herdson Group, which is a kind of world-renowned architect firm, came in and did a big renovation of the bunkers and some tee boxes and greens. I got to play Muirfield Village one time. My claim to fame is I birdied 18 to shoot 79.
Wow, there you go.
I was so happy. So anytime I see it on TV and I'm sitting with my wife, I go, Lauren, I birdied this hole. Like I've done it.
Yeah. You gotta throw that in there every once in a while.
Especially when you see the pros mess up. I was like, it can't be that hard. I birdied it.
That's a tough hole too, a dog leg, right? Around the traps.
Yeah, it was pretty challenging, but it was nice to end on a birdie at that track was nice. And then I got to play Scioto. I think like 14 holes of that. I played it in a Southern Ohio PGA match play event with one of the assistants out there, and I can't think of his name to save my life, but he absolutely dusted me. And so, yeah, he was obviously the home team, and I was the away. And I think I was on a time crunch or something. I think I had to pick Lauren up from the airport, and he was like, "You want to play in?" I'm like, "You just dusted me." It's like I'm standing on 14 green and I'm done. And I'm like, I got to get out to the airport and pick up my wife. That's fine. And so I at least got to play a few holes, 14 holes of that course, which is stunning. And I don't know how you would ever get a chance to go out there and play, but it's a course I would love to actually play from 1 to 18 all over again. So
I had, well, gosh, I guess I've mentioned him twice on this podcast already, but my buddy Josh and our buddy Max used to caddy out there when they were in they both went to Ohio State, so they caddied there in school, and they would go play on Mondays when the club was closed. And I begged them many times to let me get out there with them on a Monday, and they said there is no shot they are risking losing their job and playing privileges to get me out there. Dude, come on. So I begged and pleaded, but never happened. So
another course I forgot to mention on the private sector. My wife's father is a member out at Westfield, which is kind of up in your neck of the woods, I believe. So yeah, he's gotten me out there a few times. They have a north and south course. And speaking of the Herdson Group renovating it, they just did a huge renovation for the north and south, where they closed one for 1 year, just completely gutted it, redirected some holes, huge project. And I got to play the south course last year. And it was just stunning. Such nice, again, it's just your classic private club where it's like everything's pristine. There's not a blade of grass out of place. And then the north, they just opened up, I think mid-year last year. And that's like a true links where they actually got stones in to make it look like a Irish type, Scottish type links course where they have like the rock walls around the greens and stuff like that. So they did a really good job at that. That's a course that if you get a chance to play, get out there. And actually one of the AM events, I know we talked about that in one of the prior episodes, one of the amateur events is out at Westfield South.
Really?
Yeah. So if if you're listening and you wanted to do that, go join the AM tour and sign up for that. Go play it. So
nice. That's cool. What about any courses you have on your list that you haven't played that you want to get to this year in 2021? We may have mentioned a couple here already, but
I was going to say mostly your list. The but yeah, minus Darby and Virtues, we already played. But yeah, a lot of those courses that you're going to be involved in up in your neck of the woods, I just haven't played, and would love to get the opportunity to go out there and play any course that you haven't played with. That type of opportunity would be awesome. We have our trip in May where we're going to play, a couple courses that you haven't played. I played Heatherwood is one that I played in high school. Yankee Trace is one that I've never played. So that'll be one that I can check off. It's, that Dayton area that's a little bit closer to home. But yeah, Heatherwood I played in high school, and apparently since then they've done just another multi-million-dollar renovation. So that's a good course. That's definitely on there. But yeah, between the ones that we're going to play in the trip and then the ones on your top 5 list, I'm going to be pretty busy if I want to try to check all these off. So,
well, we're definitely going to get you over to Denison this year, and hopefully Eagle Sticks. So I was actually a gentleman, a guy I've been talking to on Instagram. We follow each other and things like that. RJ Gilbert, he wants to come down and play Virtues, and I was telling him if you're going to come down for a weekend, he's up in Cleveland, Northeast Ohio area.
Yeah,
I said you should book a weekend where you can get 36 in on Saturday and do either Virtues and Eagle Sticks or Virtues and Denison on Saturday, and then Eagle Sticks or Denison, whichever you don't get in on Saturday, play that on Sunday. All those courses, those are obviously 3 in my top 5, but they're all within 20 minutes, half an hour of each other.
Yeah, you can knock all those out.
It would be a nice little weekend trip for whoever. And Eagle Sticks and Virtues actually work together on some things, and they do some tournaments and whatnot together. So, but that would be a great little trip. I have actually 2 courses that I am going to make sure I get to in 2021. The first is Fowler's Mill, way up in Northeast Ohio, right up on the lake, actually. But that's a course I have to get to. I think last time I saw it was ranked the number 1 public course in Ohio or something like that. It jumped Virtues, I think. So that's one. And then one I actually know for a fact I'm going to get to play due to my wife's Valentine's Day gift she got me a gift certificate to Stone Lake Hills. So she saw my Instagram post on courses that I want to get to and want to play, and she got me a gift card there. So shout out to
technically Batavia, Ohio, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'd have to look again, but it's southwest-ish Ohio. So
I've played it a couple of times. It's a very nice golf course. So yeah, you'll have a good time. Have you heard that there's the bison on?
I did see that on the website. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's between 1 and 2. So like 1's a little par 4 down the hill, creek in front, and then 2 you just kind of drive up the hill, and a par 4. I think it's a par 4. Back the other way, and like there's just this big fenced in area, and there's just a live bison there. But
why not?
Makes sense. You're in Ohio. Apparently, those are pretty frequently in Ohio. So,
well, I think there's some bison at one of the metro parks in Grove City or something like that. But anyway, that'll be interesting. I guess you have to look over your shoulder on your tee shot there, make sure it's not coming after you. But
keep your head on a swivel. You never know when they're going to break through the fence. So.
Yeah, exactly. But there's so many golf courses I want to play, and just a few. But I thought it would be fun to kind of go through our top 5 public courses here. It's always fun to discuss, and I would love to, if any listeners or anybody has any other courses they would want to add to that list, or if they have their own top 5, I'd love to hear about those too, because there's plenty of courses I don't know about that I haven't played yet and want to get to. So definitely leave us a comment if you have some other ideas, or say that we're crazy for including this course, or why haven't you included another course. I'm all ears. Let's leave some comments.
Challenge us to a 2-man versus 2-man match. That's also fine. That's a great way for us to experience a new golf course and hopefully win some money. So either way.
Hopefully you're going to be carrying us then, because Because
you got the new driver, the new putter, you're ready to roll.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I actually went and hit the new driver on a simulator. Well, I went to Golf Galaxy and compared it to my old driver. So
yeah,
happy to see a little bit of a increase in yardage there. So
a little justification. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll have to maybe get some numbers and things like that and do an actual recap of what that looks like. So maybe that's another topic, another podcast, but we can knock that out here. So
absolutely.
But I think that's probably a good place to wrap up here with our courses. Again, just leave us a comment if you have any other ideas. We want to play some other courses, and we can't wait to get rid of this snow and get back out there and actually play some golf. So
I know, looking forward to it for sure. So just make sure you like the podcast, follow the podcast, like and follow us on social media, Club Tour Ohio, Punch Out Golf, and drop us, if you got topics you want us to cover or anything like that, feel free to mention us and we'll do the best we can. And there's never a shortage of golf topics that we won't talk about. So
you said it. I was gonna make sure everybody subscribe to the podcast and leave us a rating. We're trying to grow this thing and reach more people. So we'd love it if you could do that. And again, follow us on Instagram, and we'll I guess we'll talk next week.
Yep, that sounds like a plan.
All right, we'll see you.
All right. Adios.
Later.